Welcome to the first Midweek. Look, this is a segment that we've conceived of in our team to communicate some deeper ideas with you, church and community, and just to let you know some of the things that are happening within Lifestreams. Basically, we've come to think of this as the MIDI, affectionately, within our team, a bit of a sip, if you like, about the deeper things of faith and life, the stuff that's just happening behind the scenes. So because this is the first one, I just wanted to introduce what it's about. And we get the privilege of having Brian join me, Brian Duran. So Brian, just a little bit, who are you? What's your ministry?
My name's Brian and I work with the young adults at South Perth. I look after the Generations team, which includes kids and youth ministry, and also a chaplain at Curtin University. So working alongside Darren for some ministry there and some outreach. Yeah,
great. So tell me, what's been on your heart this sort of season, if you like?
It's been quite the season. Lots of change this year for me. I got married in March, just before the pandemic, so that was good.
Yeah.
But then we went through the pandemic and just lots of change, lots of upheaval, and I mean, it was significant for me, but I'm sure it was significant for many of our viewers as well. Just lots happening.
Yeah. I resonate with that. I think there's been an experience in our community of lots of change, lots of pressures. So what are you sensing in a young adult pastor sense and in a chaplaincy sense? What are you sensing here is the way through this? What do you do to get through this?
Yeah, good question, thanks. I think I've been quite distracted, just been going from thing to thing to thing. So I've personally felt quite distracted in this season. Like I've known what I should be doing or what I think I should be doing, but not always been able to spend time with God and not always been able to, articulate things perfectly or any of that sort of stuff. So I've just felt a little bit off-center, a little bit distracted. So there's a book that I've been wanting to read. I haven't read it just yet. It's by Jon Gordon. It's called The Garden.
Yeah.
I won't recommend it because I haven't read it, but I've read the synopsis, and he talks about 5 Ds, 5 things that the enemy uses to try and defeat us, to try and get us down. I'll try and remember them all. Doubt is the first one, so just doubt of God, maybe our faith, maybe doubt of self. Then there's distraction, which I mentioned for me, division, maybe division within the household. We've been cooped up together and we wanted to do different things and there might be division there, or just division within the workplace. Maybe we've got different ideas of how we should respond to some of the changes that are going on.
Just the tension of the circumstance around raises that chance of division, different opinions.
Yeah. Distortion. So maybe we're believing some lies, some half-truths, some things which seem okay, but really they're not. They're wrong. And the 5th one is discouragement.
Okay.
And I guess out of all those, they land you at discouragement and maybe feeling a bit down.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's something I think we've ridden through this year. Personally, collectively, as a community. I think there's a whole lot of things that play out with that. So again, in that young adult space and in the touch that you have on ministry, are there things that you're seeing that people are doing to address this, or are there ways that we can help with this? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you sort of combat each of the Ds individually. So for doubt, I immediately go to, well, what is true? Same thing for the distortion, what is true, and so to the Bible. As Christians, go to the Bible to see what does God say about it, and have Him speak truth into the situation, and that division as well. Like have that common sense of our mission and our values, and that can draw us together. So that the Bible is definitely a refuge that I go to, and it's one that I encourage our young adults to go to all the time.
And I
mean, in different seasons, it's been harder to go there. Often when I'm feeling discouraged or when I'm really distracted, it's not a place I go to. But whenever I do, it's so rich and it's so life-giving. Really the Bible's the place to go.
Yeah.
And one particular verse which has really spoken to me in this season is Psalm 46.
Yeah.
Just right down the end, I think it's verse 10 or 11, it talks about just being still and knowing that God is God. Just in that space of reflecting on who He is, and no matter what happens to us in our life, no matter what's going on around us, that God is God, and that brings me great peace.
Yeah. Well, it's a pretty short passage, I think. So how about I read that out and we just have a little chat about what's it saying. So here we go. Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea. Though its waters roar and foam and the mountains quake with their surging, there is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy place where the Most High dwells. God is within her, she will not fall. God will help her at break of day. Nations are in uproar, kingdoms fall. He lifts his voice, the earth melts. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Come and see what the Lord has done, the desolations he has brought on the earth. He makes wars cease to the ends of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the shields with fire. He says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress."
Yeah, just the idea that God is our rock, he's our fortress, he's our shelter, he's our refuge. Even when the mountains fall into the sea, that's a pretty big upheaval.
Yep.
But God is there, and he's a constant, and he's a place that we can go to. It just brings so much peace to me, and calms fears and calms anxiety.
Yeah. So in those moments of division, and those moments of distress, this is a place to come to God. You said before, it's sometimes hard. When we feel like that, it's hard to open the Bible or trust in that. So have you got an encouragement about that? You got a way that you get through that?
As I said, sometimes better at it than others. It's a bit of a discipline for me. I use a habit linking, where as soon as you brush your teeth, you do something else. So it's it's that thing to remind you. So for me, it's in the morning. So I get a cup of coffee and I sit down with the Bible and read through the Lifestreams e-journal. So just reading through that and let the Holy Spirit speak to me and with what God's got for me for the day, and encouragement, and often I'm able to share that encouragement with others. Because that's something else I found with that discouragement. There's lots of that going on around us right now, and so I've been praying to God, how can I be an encouragement to others? How can I bring joy to people?
Well, I'm actually going to encourage you. That was a great word. That's a great thing to have shared. And I want to sort of say, if you struggle with reading the Bible, I think a lot of people do. They just say, "Oh, this is pretty hard." It's okay to read a verse. And Brian highlighted for us, there was one particular verse that really stood out. And I think that's super important. We don't need to always just follow a process of doing what someone else has done. It's okay, for example, to read a verse and dwell on that. But I think a really important thing you shared, I thought was fantastic, is you let the Holy Spirit speak to you about what that's about. You listen. You don't just consume that and say, "That's enough, I've read it." It's actually just about, what is God saying through this? Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you. Well, thanks for joining me on this, our first first little sip, and I'm looking forward to having you back doing some more stuff with us. I think as a team, we're going to bring a few more of these together, and hopefully you can just come on the journey with us, see some of the things that are happening, some of the things we personally work through or wrestle through, and some of the things that we celebrate, and some of the things that are exciting that are coming up for us. So thanks for joining us today.